Okay, I am on my iPhone 11. I will be airdropping this into the iPhone 17 for future. You won't see this until probably about a month from now. But FDX on your final draft, these are two different versions of Grace, most likely, which is a Texas werewolf screenplay, and then Deep on Ellum, which is a personal piece about my teenage years growing into a young adult man and dealing with club scenes, skinheads, punk rockers, fighting hicks, just all kinds of Texas action coming from Dallas to Fort Worth. So it does show a little bit of Dallas. It does show a little bit of Fort Worth. The main character's name is Ashley. I gave this one to my Uncle John when I was working on it in a house off somewhere in Irving, Texas. I just wanted to show what this does. This is an FDX form. It's a 103-page screenplay. You can see at the top. And so as you're scrolling down, you can see that it's in FDX. I do have it in PDF, so I don't just have it in FDX. It should be in PDF too, and I'll show you. It doesn't really matter if it's in PDF or not, but to some people it does. So I have a long list of things. I'm also keeping a final draft for the software. I'm keeping that as a file. Here we go. Okay. Bunch of stuff on the projectionist. It's just right here. It went into PDF in 2019. So FDX also, I can carry it to the program that I was working on. Why I'm showing this is because they have Final Draft on the go. So this is the PDF version. So that's what it would look like. I just put my email right there under my name because I was writing under a pseudonym. And so whenever you go through here, you'll see my emails on there and then second page. So I was so weird about first page, like I just wanted to do that, and and then this starts on the second page. So that's the title page and whatever. So page 2 is where it starts on. So probably because this might mean something. It's a film about 1989 Deep Ellum, Dallas. It's written by Ash Cole and Cole Spivey. That's both me. I like The Dark Half by Stephen King, so it was like two of me were writing it. But I don't write really under Ash Cole anymore. I do store things under Ash Cole on my fictionpress.com because I'm also a novelist. Because I write novels. I do write novels. I am working on one now. I'm on chapter 98 on this one called Rib. It's a series it's a fantasy novel that I write almost just because it's like a dream. And I like writing dreams. David Lynch talked about creating the dream and living in the dream. We can create the dream and then live in the dream. But this is the first page. So I just wanted to show this because this is a PDF version of a finalized final draft. And then you have the mix 2, and then the skyline of Dallas, skyline of Deep Ellum, and then fade out. So that's how I ended that one. And would I follow all this making the movie? Maybe a little bit of it. I might follow a little bit of it to see what I was talking about, because I have to interpret my own scripts. But I wanted to do that because that's within my email. So that's a big issue with writers. I'm doing this for about 5 minutes. It's a big issue to be able to PDF, okay? Because a PDF means I can give you my script, but I don't want you changing it. That's what a PDF is about, okay? That's what a PDF is about. It was that showing my form, my 2025 form. Okay. And this is going into a bunch of bullshit, which I have to put up with. But anyway, it goes to recent. So what it is, it's $1.99 a month. You can write it on as you go. I'm probably not going to put Your Love with Paid Training. I'm going to keep that mostly in notes. So I have a lot of notes and I have a lot of files that I deal with. So I'm sharing all of this kind of with you so I can show you how I'm doing Your Love with Paid Training, which is something I've been working on for a few months now, 2 or 3 months now. And mostly it's been in notes. But what I did was I went ahead and started creating my own format for the screenplay and my own version. But I know that, you know, just in case there's funding awaiting and someone says, do you have a screenplay in format? This is not in format, okay? So if I send this to them, they're gonna be like, what? And Lisa Leanne Lee is in the formatted version of that one page that I was showing earlier. So I'm gonna airdrop this in there. The only reason I was showing this and the only reason I'm talking about this is because you cannot PDF it in this version. You can only keep it in FDX to my knowledge, okay? If you tap on it here, you can copy, right? Okay, that's what it says right here, copy. You can copy it, you can move it, and you can share it. So I can airdrop it to a friend or whatever. But you don't want to do that to other actors who want to change everything. You want to send them an FDX. I think it's only fair. You could print a copy probably from here. I don't know for sure if you can even do that. This is on the go though. This is why I'm showing it. So if I go here, can I print it? You know, I can rename it. I can copy it. I can move it. I can share it. Which is, yeah, you probably can. If you can share, you can airdrop it. You can save to files and then hit save. But can you print it? I don't know for sure if you can print it from on the go. But all you're gonna have is basically a note version and copyright. I mean in format. Not copyright, but in format. And at the bottom you can see where it's on basically the different things like interior English, and then you have all this stuff right here, page 1 and all this stuff. So if I were to go in here and I wanted to, let's say, add something, right? I can still hit character, I can hit action, transition, I can do all that. So I can have it on this phone, and I can send it to other actors' phones and stuff, because you can airdrop it if they have FDX. All you do is you just share right here and hit airdrop to their phone. They basically, what they do is they would airdrop it in, and it would go in that way. That's a pretty neat little thing right there. A little silver ridge. I haven't even seen this. We could turn that into a little Barksville Grace, aka Weird Vlog, if you read my screenplay. So I don't think you give me a time of day. I don't exist in your life, though, do I? You know, that little clubhouse, little Barksville clubhouse, you know? They put it on Netflix or whatever, you know? Remember, I don't exist in your life. You don't have to listen to my fucking tongue, you fucking Jew. That's probably a painting job that they're doing, or it's a restructuring of that particular house. These new homeowners just giving stuff away. It's probably an older home. It's Panasonic. Yeah, those are really good. Those last forever too. Those Panasonic microwaves. This is amazing. They're basically like little gas station things in front of their house. There's a lot of people doing this theme thing in the houses. This theme is a gas station house. I like it. Phillips 66. You could. Yeah. These are all like houses that aren't really even there yet. So ultimately, Jay is kind of a Spielberg basher. But here's the weird thing, is he likes Jaws, you know, that kind of stuff. But he doesn't like the fact that this person has so much power, you know, in Hollywood. And he's still dealing with his rejection from, it's not really rejection from Hollywood, just that the fact that he didn't lean all his time and understanding on that. He went off to New York, he did all this stuff, he has a past. So you get a little bit of it from the one time when they're crossing Lake Worth in the script, but there'll be a time when he gives Lisa a nickname, which is Israel. It's really happened in the vlog, by the way. And he might bash Spielberg in a way that Woody Allen kind of did the whole thing with "Did you eat? Did you, you know, Jew? Did you eat?" You know, he said "Did Jew?" like Jew eat. He might do something similar to that, you know, quoting Woody Allen, because you get this gesture that's inside of him. Whether he's a true anti-Semite or he's doing it on the vlog, it doesn't really matter, because he likes Lisa, who he doesn't know her nationality, really. But he does make a comment saying, well, if this is Christian behavior, I don't think it is. And then he just, you know, calls it Jewish behavior, which is bad. But it is true, the Jewish people do drink. They do drink on Sabbath. They do have wine, but they're not supposed to get drunk. And then the same thing with like Catholic people too. He's like, well, I don't think you would be Catholic, so you'd have to be a Jew. That conversation might, you know, come about. But the actress has to be skilled in sense memory, and she has to be able to appear to be drunk. You wouldn't really get someone drunk all the time. That's not always good, even though Martin Sheen did it in Apocalypse Now. But he talks kind of like that. He's going to have some dialogue like that. Whether we find it in improv or we find it in the script. I'm trying to stay structured right now. I got 22 minutes of it. But I haven't got into some of that stuff. Just a little bit, just a hint of it when he talks about Martin Scorsese and cross-references that with Smashing Pumpkins song Mayonnaise, saying he'd add mayo when adding cream is what Martin Scorsese did in Goodfellas. In his version, he'd be adding mayo from Smashing Pumpkins. You know, you get the fact that he's kind of an artist, but he has this hang-up. You know, he doesn't bring it up in cells. What's cool is you're like, God, that was ferocious to say something about Schindler's List and that Spielberg is going to cast a spell on you. You know, like Eamon Roth, or whatever his name was, Eamon Goth in Schindler's List. Then right after that, he gets out of the car and he's being, hey, how y'all doing? Did y'all get moved in okay? And he's like the nicest guy in the world. So it's a textured role. It's based in character. So that would be there. It'd be there found in improv, or it'd be found also in the script. So you can't really figure him out. You don't know what he hates. You don't know what it is. You don't know his past. You don't know really anybody's past. You don't know what they are. It's like using the N-word and you're not black. That pisses them off. Probably the same thing with the people from, the Hebrew nation. Oh, you don't ever say, did you eat? You don't want to say that, because they might get mad or whatever. And who cares if they call you a no-talent scum? That's what they are anyway. I mean, Jaws wasn't that good, even though it's on my top 11 film. He'd say something like that.
But everything reminds me of her this evening. So if I sing a little out of it, sorry. Hear the same sermon all the time now from you people. Crying.
The movie that you want to watch is The Sting. It's George Roy Hill, because they pretend their way into getting $11 million, which is actually it's $500,000 in the 1930s. It's $11 million today, but they simply do it by acting. That's how they also card sharks. They're con artists, so they pretend like they're something that they're not, and then they scare off the Robert Shaw character for Shaw's Mafia, because there's a character named Shaw in it, and they scare him off because they're like, well, we don't want you to get involved in that. They're like fake cops too. That you learn in Sting is that it was a fake Sting. They weren't real cops, and they were real con artists, but they all were working together in order to scare off this one mafia boss to get to his $500,000, which equals to $11 million. It's like getting $11 million. They fake their own deaths, too. They fake a fake shootout with Paul Newman and Robert Redford. Then in the very end, they're congratulating one another and walking off with basically a great amount of money. You never really know a person's belief in what they say. It's one thing I learned about Jerry Russell, or Jerry Russell told me he's an acting teacher, but he was also one of the creators of Stage West. He said people don't say always the things that they mean. And The Sting, which is a 1973 movie, maybe, when I was born it came out. At least they were thinking about making it in 1973. But it's about the 1936, and they fool them in a physical way. They learn to card shark, sleight of hand. Even Robert Shaw's character does it, as well as Robert Redford, but as well as Paul Newman. They learn to lie physically, and then they also eventually learn to do it psychologically. But they also learn to act to get to the point where they can take the money and run. It represents a lot of things about society. So the character of Jay may do the things that he does, maybe because he has to. It's probably part of the way to get a little bit of attention. The squeaky oil, or the squeaky wheel gets the oil, kind of thing. We get the oil anyway because we're in Texas. They rely on us. Texas is a big deal, the film industry and across the United States, because of oil. Fort Worth was a big deal. There's a movie called Fort Worth too. The movie poster was right off of West 7th. It was an old movie poster, probably worth thousands of dollars. The movie was called Fort Worth. But regardless, we don't always say and do the exact things that we mean. We may say something, but we may not mean it. Or we may not be telling the truth, so you never know someone's mind by what they say. You can be held accountable. You can be. But you can't take Robert De Niro to court because of what he said and Taxi Driver, even though they did go to court over Taxi Driver. It would just be crazy. It'd also be crazy if you're in theater or film and you said everything that you meant. The Entertainer. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yes, it was about the 1930s. It's a great one. And the way they use music in that, no other film will ever top it, not even Quentin Tarantino. It's brilliantly done. Paul Newman, Robert Redford's, one of their best movies of all time. I always think that Gleason was in it for some reason, but he's works with Paul Newman in another one about a hustler. All right, we got one at Panera. It's down the road. And then we got another one after that. They got chocolate chipper cookies here. They call them chippers. Look at this multitasking. Got a photo of it. Anyway, I think, playing The Entertainer, I have to get the name on the writer of that, but it was in The Sting, which is George Roy Hill. But Marvel or something like that, it's cool to play it and listen to it, and drive to it. It's a lot of fun. All right, so the writer of The Entertainer is Scott Joplin from 1902. Eventually it changed. Well, it didn't change, but Marvin, who was a soundtrack guy, he even did the soundtrack for Matt Damon's The Informer. He revised it in the 70s, 73. So it was done again. I'll try to get his last. Okay, going back to The Entertainer in the 1973 with The Sting, Marvin Hamlish. And he would work on a Matt Damon film called The Informer as well. Now, it goes all the way back to 1902 ragtime music for Scott Joplin. He wrote it. The dun 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 dun. It revisited and they revised it in the 70s for that movie, which later Roy George Hill would make a wonderful movie, the best Western of all. I haven't done my Westerns yet, my best top 10 Westerns, but he would do a Western called Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and it makes my number one for sure. Nothing's beat it. It's Paul Newman and Robert Redford's best work other than The Sting. They played Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and they even passed through Fort Worth. Probably Robert Redford and Paul Newman did, but Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid did. They hung out with a lady named Etta Place, supposedly a Jewish lady that ran a brothel. Her nickname was probably Israel too. They hit them, and they were part of the. They were part of the Hole in the Wall gang. Anyway, Roy George Hill, definitely one of my favorite directors, and The Sting is definitely an influence on a lot of stuff. That's what this guy is doing. As well as Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. I even liked that when I was a kid. My dad showed it to me on a VHS and liked the movie, and allowed me to watch it. And, you know, I loved, me and my friend Verlo, we would act out scenes from it from my mom and my stepdad in a cabin in East Texas. Yeah, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. It was the best thing ever. We were very lucky to be brought up on such a classy Western. Better than any Western that's even come close. Taylor Sheridan, eat your heart out. Big time. Big time. George Roy Hill.
Don't drink. One stop, big flavor. Just $3. Only with 7 rewards. Plus X.
I did post my top Westerns, as in Western films. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid will hold that top, just like Taxi Driver holds the top for my best film of all time. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, 1969. Robert Redford, Paul Newman, before he made The Sting. George Roy Hill, that's how they say his name. I said it opposite, so, oh well. We're gonna get a moonshot here in a minute. Not my butt, but I got some cool stuff too. But I did make a Western. Quentin Tarantino made number 2 for Hateful Eight, and I'm gonna hold that one. There's a lot of reasons why, because I like the way it looks. It has a Sergio Leone feel. And Django Unchained made number 3, so I know that will be controversial. But I did put The Searchers in there for Scorsese. Got one of these Awakes and a Fusion. I already recorded the Fusion. I gotta get going on. But there's a bunch of them. You can check it out on my Facebook. So it's just the top ones that are off the top of my head. I know Ethan Hawke's going to be in there too. 310 to Yuma is on there because my friend Johnny Whitworth was in it. He gets killed and he plays Tommy. The guy that gets killed, that's one of my friends. Well, he's a friend of my brother. I mean, not my brother, I'm sorry. A brother to one of my good college friends, Danny. Johnny Whitworth gets killed in it, yeah. It's a pretty cool death scene too. 310 to Yuma made it, which that one deserves it. It's Christian Bale and the other dude. Russell Crowe, he's doing something right now. Yeah, it's actually a really good one. It's a remake. Searchers made it, of course, John Wayne. I gotta tell you the truth, I need to sit through it a few more times. Searchers is just brilliant because it's John Ford. But a bunch of them, like I did put Wyatt Earp. I put Tombstone in there, Wyatt Earp from the 90s, the Quick and the Dead remake with Leonardo DiCaprio. I threw that in there too. I think it's got Sharon Stone or someone like that in it. It's some cool stuff. So I just put it up there. A lot of modern day Western stuff. Of course, you know, I did meet Eli Wallach. So Sergio, you know, the Good and the Bad, the Ugly should have probably been the best one, but it made the top 5. And so did Once Upon a Time in the West. But Sergio Leone made it, but he didn't beat Quentin, though. I'm just talking about entertainment value. I do like Sergio Leone, though. I do like him. Entertainment value, he's way up there. I just think Quentin did a better job at bringing in some of the reality. But Sergio Leone, it's fanciful. It's like a dream. It's like watching a dream. Once Upon a Time in the West, and also, of course, you know, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly had to make it. But all of them are there, you know, starting with Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and The Unforgiven, I think it's like number 2. That's Clint Eastwood. I moved it way up on the chart. It may not be number 2, but I'll have to look at it later. It's on my Facebook currently just now. Yeah.
Creamy one too.
Right. Yeah, it's a rich, savory pepper spread. I'd go for it. You can put it with the tortillas. First time I went to Vegas, I tried a steak restaurant with this guy, Gordon Ramsay. Next time I go, I'm gonna try this guy. It's Supposedly he has a really good flavor. But he was good. He was good with his mixed drinks, and his appetizers are great. He needs to work on his Duke Wellington. This guy's supposed to be like the Italian king on Italian food. They call him Slappy Joe. Yeah, Guy Fieri's. This is known as the Slappy Joe, or Sloppy Joe. But Guy Fieri's, yeah.
A box. And we can share it.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that. My Taxi Driver poster from the 1976 film, directed by Martin Scorsese, starring Robert De Niro, will go here. After Hours by Martin Scorsese will go there. It's amazing how time catches up with you. In the process of ordering a new frame. This one's a little bit bigger than what I thought. It's like that scene in Score with Marlon Brando. Remember? Robert De Niro, Edward Norton. Ooh, Irish remembered. Puts them in this thing. Takes off with the score. The royal scepter. Was he fed? Today's kitty is. Make it. All cinematic. We go easy. We go sneak. And go Jesus style right here. Sneak. Probably here. Which is this button right here. You can kind of see it. Got this thing right there. Sneak. Now we go Jesus style crunchy crunch. Right there. Right there. Right there. There. Crunchy crunch. Shift it. Crunchy crunch. Double. Add to all. Good to go for edit. Crunchy crunch. Up this way. Here. Very Jesus. I'm just like a little kid. Right here. Boom. Command and V. Boom. 416, which I didn't actually. I had to cut a little bit more than that. So that's what it says it is. We go next, and we go scatta scatta. You want to do that? Get yourself one of those. Uh-oh. Taxi driver goes right over here. After Hours goes there. Get real mad. Oprah Winfrey likes this. It's a movie based on a book by a guy named Cormac McCarthy, who wrote The Road. He also is named Hillcoat. Rumor to be announced, Blood Meridian. Scorsese turned it down. A lot of people turned it down because it's too violent. Blood Meridian, I read it in Maine, and Bangor, going from Bangor into where I was living at the time, called Dover Foxcroft, right next to a theater, a stage theater called the Central Theater, or the Center Theater, sorry, the Center Theater. But I read some of it in a hotel in Bangor when it was too cold to make it back to Dover Foxcroft, Maine. Good book. Cormac McCarthy also cross-referenced that book when I wrote a book called Escape from Maine, which is a novel. It's actually a novel about me leaving Maine and coming back to Texas. Mentioned my dad in it. People are in it. It actually has like the ghost of my father kind of thing. Or the ghostly voice of my father is a poem that was also went along with it. All that was written, Escape from Maine, cross-referencing 2 books. Blood Meridian, which is not done yet. Hillcoat might try it. Is the director of this one. The Road. I peeked at The Road when I was there. Blood Meridian I read. Didn't understand all of it. I read it. And The Different Seasons by Stephen King, which is a series of novellas. Read that while I worked on Escape from Maine, which is mostly just fiction press stuff. It's mostly like a log. It's mostly like a diary, but it's also done fiction. Samuel Camden III, okay? He is in Rib, which I'm working now. He becomes a state trooper in Alaska. That's his backstory. It's like 900 pages of backstory. It's a fictional character, but it's not based on Samuel Camden III. He's the protagonist in Escape from Maine. Rib, the protagonist, is Shep Dwight East and the dwarf. They share the protagonist spot. The dwarf is writing it, but Shep could be writing it too. Shep is the one I mentioned that maybe Leo being if we turn it into a movie. It's only a novel now. It's all been posted on my Facebook page. A little bit of it, very excerpts have been posted on my Ash Cole site at fictionpress.com or fanfiction, which is not on that, but it's fictionpress.com under Ash Cole. I've got a lot of artists that want to work on it, that want to draw on it. This is kind of a thing that you watch. It can be almost a side piece whenever you read Blood Meridian in a way. But this is more of a condensed version. And Blood Meridian is all over the place. It's kind of, you could say, Cormac McCarthy's David Foster Wallace Infinite Jest kind of thing. It's really all over the place. If you read Blood Meridian, it's hard to follow. This is easier to follow. It's called The Road. They made a movie out of it.